Hello and welcome to the Long Distance Stitchers. This is Flosstube episode number 7. It's November 26th today. Yes, it's November 26th. It's my birthday month, so I have my birthday hat on that my friend Meghan sent me, and it matches my sweater.
Queen.
Yeah. I'm a queen. Taking over for the queen.
Better choice.
Yeah. Welcome back. We have a few, this is just a kind of a regular video today. No parades, just regular updates.
Although as I put my stuff together, because last night I was like, I don't think I have very much. Well, you know, there's 10 or so things to share. So
10? Oh wow, you do a lot. Yeah, I don't have that much. I have 4 whips right now, which is not bad. That's pretty good.
I touched a couple things, but just like one day. But that's still progress. So I'll share them. Yeah.
No, that's excellent progress. Yeah. But I think we're starting with haul. I have a lot of haul.
I only have 2 things to share. So
well, why don't you start, and then I'll do my haul and my stitchy kindness.
So I have my Floss of the Month colors from Hand Dye by Rolanda.
Ooh.
Just a pack this month. No theme or anything, but I like them. I really like this gold one.
I really like that pink.
The pink is nice too. I have a lot of pinks, but the gold one I like. It's like gold. To me anyways. And so if I have something that just calls for like a tiny bit of Krynic and I really don't want to bother with it, I have a really nice gold to put in there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's nice. And then my other haul is Amazing Score. I stopped in at a thrift store last weekend. Was it only last weekend? Yeah. And I found a complete kit, but not in the package, of the Birth of Christ Dimensions kit. And it was a good price. And I was like, well, you know, if I just use the philosophy fabric and I don't actually stitch it, it's worth the money. And then I came home and I Googled the pattern because there's no like cover picture, right?
Yeah.
And it goes on eBay for like 150 up US dollars, right? So now I'm like, do I sell it to somebody who actually wants to stitch it? And I kind of feel like I should, but then for how much and how and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna sit on it for a little bit and see and decide what to do with it. If somebody really like wants this kit, reach out. Because I don't see myself ever stitching it, so I should move it along a bit home.
Do you have the picture to show? Yeah.
Okay, so here is what the Birth of Christ looks like. And it'll be a preview if you look at the tab names of some of the other things that we're going to talk about. But that's the picture. It's a nice nativity scene if you're into that. I have 2 dimension gold kits on the way, and they're probably going to take me years and years to finish. I'm not starting another one.
Yeah.
Figure out what to do with it and go from there.
There's some good colors in there. I like that.
I really like the colors. That's why, like, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's a blue small count 8. I think it's 18 count. I haven't actually measured it, and of course I don't have anything that tells me. It's a nice dark Ada, right? Like fine. Yeah. And then the colors of the floss, I was like, well, I can just sub them into things. But when I realized what I actually had on my hands,
it's worth millions. Well, not quite.
I don't know about that, but I think that it might do better with somebody who wants to stitch it as is, right? I hate to take apart a kit that's out of print and people want. So that's
like that kind of like those like religious ones. I feel like there are people who just like that's all they stitch. So
I'm sure there's loads of people who'd love to have it. So, and I said that's all my haul, but it's not, because I completely forgot about my Black Friday shopping. I even have that ready. So I went shopping for Black Friday in the realm of digital patterns. So first,
I forgot about those too.
I went over to Deanna, Darling, and Whimsy and bought a few quirky Quakers. I got this jack-o'-lantern and I got the ghost. I didn't get the cauldron or the skeleton because I'm not feeling those ones as strongly, but maybe I'll pick them up another time. And then because I am starting to feel festive, I also picked up the moose. And where's our other friend? Where is it? Oh, right there.
Oh,
the
reindeer.
reindeer. Yeah, so those will go on my to be stitch list. I love a quirky Quaker. And then I also bought a sewing pattern that I've been eyeing up for a little while, which is this sewing case that comes with a bunch of different variations of pages to put together a sort of little travel book. And she's got like a bobbin page and just like an open page, things like that. So that I think is going to be a project when I am off between Christmas and New Year's because I'm not allowed to go to work.
Nice.
Instead. So that's really exciting. And then the last thing that I bought for Black Friday was a knitting pattern that I've been eyeing up for a while. This Triceratops cowl, because
that's
Triceratops are the best dinosaurs, and then I can wear one around my neck. So I've had the yarn for a little while, and I just haven't bought the pattern because I haven't been ready to start it. But buy 2 patterns, get 1 free. So I also got, she has a cryptid cowl that's got a Loch Ness, a Sasquatch, and I think a Mothman.
Oh, fun.
Options. So I'll figure that out. And then just another one that's more of a striped one, but I didn't load those ones to share. But so that's what I've been doing for my shopping.
Nice. You did do a lot of shopping.
Right. I also went to Mislaid Pages and made some physical chart orders too. So those will come through the mail, as well as a piece of Jessie's fantastic fabric. So I don't know if this will be loaded up, but Jessie's sale goes all weekend. So if this makes it up and you're watching on Sunday, and you have a hankering for some beautiful fabric or other things, go check out their site, mislaidpages.com.
Yeah, we'll link to that below. Okay, I bought myself 2 treats that came during this month. I got 2 Fangirl fiber boxes. So the first was sort of like a Nightmare Before Christmas based, and it was like an advent box. So there was like 12 little packages to open, and it came first of all with this beautiful tote bag that is like
so good,
so nice, and it's super duper soft. Like I don't know
what
this is
the bag that she uses for they're fantastic.
It's like the softest thing ever. So then it came with a pattern that's like, I think exclusively made for the box, and it's this Oogie Boogie, Let's Boogie, which is super cute, and it comes with fabric and the DMC flosses for this, but it's also like a huge pattern, and I just don't know if I'll ever get around to stitching it, so I may pass that along if anybody's super keen for that. But I love the fabric, so I'm going to keep that. So it's this big piece of, they called it Oogie's Dice, and it's like, it's not really showing up, but it's like a kind of variegated, like greenish, grayish kind of color.
It's coming through a little bit.
Yeah, and this is a 28 count, fat 1/8. So it's a pretty nice big piece. So that was definitely good. And then I opened up the last piece of fabric today, which is amazing.
Good,
right?
So good.
That's gorgeous. So this one is called Sally's Dream, and it is also a 28 count fat 1/8, and it's just, I love it.
Very cute.
Very neat. So I got both of those, and then I got a ton of silks. So I got, let's see. Look at all these. So these are the ones I opened earlier, and then I got this bright green one. Oh my god. These 2 like reddish and pinky ones I opened today. And then, yeah, there's like a red, there's this green, there's this one, which is like orange and black together. Like, yeah. And they all have fun names.
Overall, excellent Halloween palette, right?
Yeah. So this one is called Pumpkin Kings. This is like the orange and grayish kind of one. And then this one is called Simply Meant to Be. And it's kind of like this teal with like gray colors. And then where did that one go? I'm dropping everything. Let's do one at a time. And then yeah, so this green one, this is a very good like slimy green. And this one is called Kidnap the Sandy Claus, which is like this reddish, very like just sort of like a maroony kind of red. This really bright orange is called This Is Halloween, and it really is.
So good.
And I already know what I'm definitely going to do with that one. Those two I did. And then these, another green, this one is called Frog's Breath. So it's like kind of a darker green. And then Jack's Lament. It was just like
that one I still love so much.
Like yeah, like a charcoal gray kind of situation. And then this bright pink rather, is Deadly Nightshade.
Nice.
So, yeah. And I got 2 needle minders from that box. So this one is Jack, and that one is Oogie Boogie.
Nice. I love needle minders.
They're huge. They're such good needle minders.
They're good, and they've got the thing on the back that makes them so easy to take them off.
Yeah, and I love the wooden ones because they're not super heavy. And then I also got the Muppet Christmas Carol Light the Lamp, Not the Rat box. And this is the pattern that comes with it, which again, like it's really nice. It's like this lamp, but I am not going to stitch all those words. Like that's, it's huge.
So as we discussed, it just doesn't like, unless you like know the phrase, it doesn't scream Muppets, right? Like,
right? Like,
I'm sure there's copyright issues, but
yeah, I feel like that's what it had to be. And then also like the thing just has
that's cute. I like that,
which is very cute. Yeah. And then this nice piece of like sort of beigey, peachy kind of color, which is also a really nice big piece. And then she didn't give all the DMCs for that one. This is also a 28 count fat eighth called Lamplight. But she just gave some silks that are in very Christmassy colors.
Yeah, it's a good set.
Red and gold and green. So yeah.
See, now you know our non-Crynet gold too. We're set.
Yeah.
For all our holiday stitching.
Exactly. And then because it was my birthday, my friend sent me a package. I got a bunch of goodies, but I'll just show the patterns. So this is Superior Bees by Summer House Stitchworks, which is like a very cool, like gothic looking beescape. And then this from Lindy Stitches was passed on, the Vulture. Vulture Villa. And from Crossstitch Pumpkin Stitchery, it's the Treasure Trove Trio, which is just so cute. I love it.
Like the bigger version of your most thing you stitched this month.
Exactly. And from Ink Circles, it's 5 o'clock. So these cocktail clock, I guess that's what it is. Which will be so much fun because I do love to stitch tropical fruit and things like that.
Yeah, so
if you couldn't tell from
people who know can probably recognize that those suite of patterns came from a series of boxes that I no longer get. So that's all I'll say about that. But every one of those patterns, I opened them and went, oh, I'm not really into it. But I shared it with Meghan and she was like, I love it. So now she's the proud owner of
and you were like, do you though? Do you love it? Yeah, I think that's everything I got. I keep everything that arrives during the month in like a little spot, and that was everything that was there. So I think that's everything I don't put
I
stuff
think
away until
that's enough.
after
Right?
Flosstube.
You don't
That's
need to-
yeah, right. That's plenty. Because I didn't go shop, like I didn't go to Michael's or anything else this month, I don't think. So yeah. Do you have any finishes?
I have a finish to share. I had 2 more finishes this month, one of which I'm not even going to talk about because it was top secret stitching. And another one was for our Stiachalong team project. So we have to do a collaborative project. And so Team Sips and Stitches is stitching a bunch of birds together. So I stitch, and it's already off in the mail because Michelle is doing the finishing for the team. But I found this cute turkey on Etsy and I had to stitch it. So I stitched it. It was really fast. It only took a couple hours, and I will definitely stitch it again for myself because I love him so much. So angry.
That is the cutest thing. I love that turkey.
That was my contribution. If I was prepared, I could have, figured out and had a picture of my actual finish, but I'm not that prepared. And then my other finish is from the Autumn Garden Stitch Along. Have the best autumn available to you. And I did it on this random 18 or 20 count Aida, or maybe it's an even weave. I don't really know. This random piece of fabric that I had. The is it golden golly?
The variegated one.
Yeah, the yellow bleeds into it quite a bit, but you can read it better in person, right? It just doesn't translate well. But I loved stitching this. I love the little squirrel, and I love that nice autumnal leaf. And I will finish this somehow and have it up next year. And I still have, especially since I stitched like both the things that I've stitched out of it, I've done 1/1. So I've used very little of the floss.
Oh, nice.
So I will probably be buying some more patterns. I just don't feel very folly right now. So
yeah,
there's lots of good patterns out there, and I've got lots of thread left. So I'm sure more will come. So those are my finishes.
I didn't finish any of mine. I only started the Bendy Stitchy one, and I'm still not even done. But worked on a lot of other things.
It happens.
Okay, I have 2 finishes. One which was a start and a finish and a fully finish, and then it was given away. So I made this little pig and these bees for my friend Evelyn, and she's probably gonna watch this, so I had to finish it before the episode so I could show it. I took this, the pig is a freebie that I found, and I can look up the name of the person who posted it if anyone is curious. You can see that I take pictures of everything I get and send it to people. Yeah, and then the bees were from another pattern that I've already finished as well. It was the lavender bee thing that I showed off, and then the scape was also a freebie that I found online, and I also had to adjust it because it was too big, and it would have been it was almost as big as the pig. So I was like, okay, let me just squish this down a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, there's a happy little pig.
So cute.
And the the pig pattern, because I was trying to find the origin of it, because it was just reposted and copied a million times, but I think it actually started as a knitting pattern and then was adapted to a cross stitch pattern, because I also found a knitting pattern that is the exact same image. So it's very curious, but I was searching for pigs that weren't because she specifically said she wanted a more cute pig than a realistic pig. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna look and see what I can find. And then I also finished my WIPGO goal from last month, October, which was this drink.
It's so pretty. The colors are so awesome.
Yeah, it turned out really good. And it didn't take as long as it didn't take very long once I started focusing on it. And now I have both of these that I can fully finish, and hang up in the spring.
Excellent.
Yes. And then my other finish was my macrame whip go from this month. So this is the November one. So back before I got really into cross stitching, I was like dabbling in macrame, and I ordered a bunch of macrame rope, and it was like cheaper than like other stuff that I found. And I figured out why, because it's only 1 millimeter instead of 3, which is like the more common one. So I ended up with all these like rows of these like little tiny ones, which is fine. Like they're still good for like other things. But I kept seeing these like feather wall hanging things. So I made a bunch of these feathers, and then they kind of just sat in a drawer for a while because I got more and more into cross stitching. And I was like, oh, I should really finish this, like, and just make something and hang it up. And so I put it on my whip go board, and so it got called this month. And so last night I sat down and I started making this. I can turn it around so you can see like I just made like with different knots so that it would have like sort of a background.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, figured out a way to tie the things and added some beads, and there you go. It's actually like it's kind of funny, like it's really small, but like it's cute.
It is. I like it a lot, right?
Yeah. I'm probably not going to make a bunch of these because it takes a really long time to make all these little feathers, and it's very fiddly, but I like the cord, and I'll use the cord for other things. It's like a nice color palette. It's like greenish and like,
yeah, the colors are
that
really
kind of stuff. So
I just thought they were leaves. I didn't even think they were feathers, right? Like they look like tropical plant leaves.
Either feathers or leaves, I don't know, because I've seen it. It's like macrame feather tutorial, and it's like that thing, or it's like macrame leaf tutorial, and it's the exact same thing. So it's like however you want to look at them. Okay. They're feathers or leaves, I don't know. They look more like leaves because of the colors. That's true.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's everything I finished.
Nice. Very productive month for you. Okay. Do you have any new starts?
I do have a couple new starts. Do you have any other than
I have 3 new starts, so okay. You can go for it though, and then I can share mine. And
all right. Yeah. So I had a birthday start, which is one that I talked about in our last Flosstube, and it is the Quaker Pumpkins by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I had all the stuff kind of like ready to go because I had it kitted up for a while. I made a few adjustments on my colors because I realized I didn't have enough because this is huge. And also I had a few ones that like I wanted to do, like I'm probably going to do the little motifs in like fancy flosses because I have like some oranges and some reds and stuff, but I didn't want to do the big ones because that's just like it's going to eat so much floss.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And then the border, I'm going to do the main border in just like 310, and then I was going to do the writing in like maybe like 3799 or something, because they were both like if you didn't have the variegated, that was like the suggested DMC
options. Yeah.
And then I might do the crows in like one of those nice black or charcoal ones that I just got, because that would be fun. Yeah. Now I have to figure out which way this goes. I don't remember. Anyway, that's my start. That little.
I think that's the right way. The flowers upright, right?
Well, it is like it goes all ways because it's the one right in the middle.
Oh.
It's like a mirror image. So, but yeah, I think I started with the flower going up, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I did like a
mirror image. It doesn't really matter so long as you have the space. Whichever way.
I did like an actual center start of this piece of material because like I'll have a big margin, but like it's just white Aida. It's like 18 count white Aida, so it's like I don't really need to save it. I'll just use the whole thing. And then because I'll probably like want to frame that because it's so big, so it'll be easier if it's on a bigger piece. So that was my one start. That was at the beginning of the month. And then I started the Afshan Sampler by Miriam.
Oh, you've got so much done.
I know. Do you have the picture handy?
I do. I have it.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
So there
it is. That's the Afshan Sampler. And I started in the top of that row, right in the middle, and I just went right over, and I did a bunch of the alphabet actually. Yeah, and I'm doing it with
Yeah,
this.
there looks like there's 5 more for you to do.
I think on that side, yeah.
And then, yeah.
And then I'll move. I'm gonna start going the other way though, because I'm almost at my edge here, and then I'll move my thing. And I'm using this really nice color, and I'm loving how it's coming out in the color changes.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. And both my fabric and my floss are hand dyed by Rolanda, and they are perfect.
Fantastic.
And yeah, those are my 2 big starts.
Okay, I'll start by sharing my Afghan sampler too. So I've gone all the way across my fabric in the Q-snap, but there's still a little ways to go. But I came back instead of moving it and started putting in the border, which you can see there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's on a 40 count, 1/2, so it's teeny tiny. But I am going to keep working on this until the end of the month, I think, after I finish one of my other new starts, which will be done today. But this is going to be my focus until the end of the month because I want to get some good progress on it. Yeah, I've been a bit of a squirrel all month, so I'm not sure what I'm doing with my board. So that is my Afghan sampler. And then one of my other new starts is I spent a couple days at the start of the month, and I started Midnight at the Pumpkin Patch by Uncanny Kari, and it's so cute. So cute. So I did a conversion to sulky, and I'm doing it on I think it's a 16 count, but I think I need to take the pink out, the light pink out of this. So this is my my color palette.
Those are so pretty.
And so the white and the light pink, when you hold them up next to each other, making a mess. I've got the green thread, that's my problem.
Yeah, like even from here,
right? Like you can tell that they're different, but I think once you get that black in there, although the face is actually reading not bad on camera, but in person, it's very hard to read it.
Yeah.
So I know there's got to be, if I go through my sulkies, I'll have a pink that's in between these two that's darker. So I think that's what I'm gonna do is go and switch that up. But like all of like this one, Kari did by herself, not with Dee, but all of their patterns are a joy to stitch. So once I figure that out, I will probably feel more happy about it. It's a me problem, not a pattern problem, and continue working on it.
Yeah.
And then my last new start, which will be a finish later today, I started from Pixie Designs, Pixie Crossstitch. It's all about the sweets, which is in this year's just cross stitch Christmas ornament. So if you like it, you can probably still get this places. I'm doing it. I found this. It's like a roughly 20 count even weave.
Nice.
But I don't know, holding things. I'm out of practice. How long has it been since we filmed? But so I'm doing a sulky conversion on this as well. So I've got the whole top done, and I've got the mouse just about done. I got to add in, there's some pink and then a candy cane. Santa, I darkened up his skin tone a little bit, what's in the pattern, and then I'm working on pretzels, and then this becomes like a little, peppermint candy, and then it says about the sweets at the bottom. But she does call for some beads, and I don't have small enough beads like to be like sugar on the gumdrops and salt on the pretzels and things. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do to bling it up a little bit, if I might get some even tinier beads than what I have or what, but the stitching will be done today, I'm confident, because I did most of that this morning already. So go upstairs, watch TV, stitch, everything. So those are my starts.
Do you want to do, how many whips do you have? Do you want to do your whips? I have 2.
I have 6 whips.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I will dive into it. Okay, so I happened to have, so the day that I stitched that disgruntled turkey, we were out visiting family and I had just shoved it into a project bag that I had on hand that had this in it. So when I finished the turkey and we were still visiting, I just pulled this out and got some work done on it. So I wasn't done the border. So I finished the border and then I put in the heart and I've started to do what the pink is on the little flowers and things around in there. So, and I'm stitching this 1 over 1 on a 28 count. So it's going to be teeny tiny. And I'm going to do the whole thing and make the mattress.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one that I think I touched one other day this year. It's one of those lingering whips that just lingers.
Yeah.
And then the next one in my whip pile is, and it's starting to get, I gotta defuzz and dehair it because I've been using it and things. But my Stiachalong sampler, if at first you don't succeed, I honestly did not see how they were going to get succeed out of it. Everybody was pretty confident it was going to say succeed. I couldn't make it work in the brain, but there it is.
I'm still blown away by this, like, because just the way it was showing up before, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, stay cool, yeah. And then you just see everything filled in and you're like, how?
Yeah, of course it makes sense.
How?
Anyway, so I'm playing around in my head with what I want the second half to say, because now it becomes a choose your own adventure, but I'm going to wait and see what they give us in terms of the options and pieces for the bottom half of it. But this has been also used as a flag and a penny and otherwise paraded out for our different team challenges. So it's well loved, but I'm aiming for something snarky and then it'll go in my office at work because why not?
Like if at first you don't succeed, stop.
Yeah, just go home. Give up.
It's over.
Yeah. Why even try?
Like demotivational.
Then I've been working on my Whip Go project. So I had 2 calls. I mean, everybody has 2 calls every month. What am I talking about? But one of them was Max in the Adirondacks. So this is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. And I worked on this now a couple times. So I did a center start on it. So like roughly around the hat and counted over, and now I'm just working in the top corner and I'll work across and stuff. So this time I finished this box of it's cheesy poofs basically coming out, and then as I had colors up there that came down here, I finished off the threads that I was using. So
yeah,
starting to fill it in, but I spent 5 days on that and I was happy to get that box done, and I'll just trucking away at things. It's not, I mean, I think if I sat down and focused on these, right, like for a big chunk of time, I'd get a lot into them, but
yeah,
there's a lot of things I want to stitch in this world.
Yeah.
I'm not
as
many hours in the day as I'd like there to be.
Exactly.
Right. And then my other Whip Go call was this pattern from Roveris, which doesn't have a name, but I call it Skeleton Mermaids. It has a pattern number. I don't think it's on here though. I think it's just on the pattern. Yeah. But I'm stitching mine 1 over 1 on 28 count on a Monaco that I dyed myself. That, you know, looks sort of like, it's bluer than it's coming up here. Not like super blue, but more of a blue gray than a gray gray. So it just seems oceany to me. And I put a little bit more in on the parrot. I did the whole octopus up here, filled in her eyes and nose, and gave her her lower jaw. And that was my 5 days of progress, but it's a lot of stitches. Like if I had done this on like a 32 count or something, it would be huge.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come down. Like I'm going to have to move the Q snap to finish it.
Oh yeah.
It's quite big, even on the 1 over 1 of the 28 count. So
yeah.
But I was pleased with my progress on that one, and I will keep working away on it. And then my last whip, I said I had 6, but I only have 5 because I can't count. I pulled out on Thursday for Dee's 20 Stitches birthday for their Flip Dee the Bird Sal, my Lindy Stitches Autumn Strolls. And I just put in a little bit of work on the first turkey there. Filled in some more blue on the tail and then started filling in this whiter color here. And I just did it while I had my coffee in the morning and wished Dee a happy birthday. So.
Yeah, I didn't do one. I was gonna do my Funky Menagerie, one of the birds on there, but I had a bunch of homework to do and it just didn't happen. I'm sorry, Dee.
Real life, rude.
I'll flip
He said you can
some
still flip them the bird until the end of the month. It's still there.
Oh, okay.
Months, so.
I'll do it before the end of the month then. Yeah. I can do that today.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Dee. That bird's coming for you. Because I know they're watching this, obviously.
Obviously, right?
They love us.
Yeah.
They're a Stitch Dad.
Yeah.
All right. I have 2 whips. So I have one which was my whip go for November, which I exclaimed with great hubris in our last video that it would take me 3 hours to finish, and I think I've already done 3 hours on it and it's not finished. So this is my Festive Flamingo, and I did have to start him over because I realized I was too far on the edge and it was going to be not big enough. So I started over and I started in the center like Meghan suggested, with the green. So that's pretty much all of the stitching. There's like a little bit still in here of like a medium pink. So there's like light pink and then there's the dark pink and then there's a medium pink. But that's pretty much it. And I also screwed up.
Really a flamingo, right? Like,
yeah.
It's almost all the way there.
You literally can't tell and no one will ever know, but of course I'm going to talk about it because whatever. But it's supposed to be 3 strands, and when I started doing the white and the black, I forgot that it was supposed to be 3 strands and just did them in 2, and I was like, I don't care.
If you really wanted like just a little bit more coverage on the black, you could just go over just the top strand with another thread, but if it looks fine in person, like I can see through it right now, but when you finish it you probably won't be able to, right? It's just
it doesn't bother me. I think it's okay. Good. And there's gonna be there's gonna be beads and stuff anyway, so whatever. But yeah, I still have to do all the beading on that and I'll try to finish that. I still have until the end of the month to finish that. That's good. And then I worked on my Under the Sea sale a lot because I really want to get it, I really want to be caught up with it at least by, we only have 1 month left. There's one more clue. No, it's going until March. I shouldn't say, it's going until March, I think. It's 12 months. Oh. I think it started in March. So, yeah.
But there's not that much left there, right? Like, because one just came out.
Yeah. So there's still here.
But isn't it just apparently I put, Zoom made me put my hand up because I was holding my hand up. I didn't know that it did that.
So this is the last clue that came out. So this is clue number 9. And so there's still the entire bottom. So maybe it is just 10. Maybe there is only 1 left.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be done at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know why.
Oh. Telling us all their secrets. Not by the pattern.
They're not showing you the pattern. So this is the last clue that came out, and I immediately, literally that day, went and stitched the little crab in the corner.
So cute.
I could not hold back. I could not resist. He is the cutest thing in the world. But I did. So I worked my way up a little bit from my jellyfishes. I did all these fish here. I did these puffer fish. I moved over and did all these yellow fish, and I did all the waves that I had kind of been avoiding because they're not that fun. But yeah, and I'm pretty much there's one square and then there's the border right here. So I'm a little bit tight on this side, but whatever.
Yeah, there's plenty there.
Yeah, and then that's where I'm at. So I'm making some good progress. So right here is the sea turtles, and there's a few more fishies in there. And then up here is the otters. And then there's like a scuba diver here, and there's a scuba diver down here. So those are the big things that I'll have to do. And then there's like some other fish and then the border.
Yeah.
But it's a good border. Like it's just single stitches, and then it's like all the like anchors and stuff.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a lot of fun. It's like seashells and all kinds of stuff there. And then there's just like some more sand, and then like another big like sea, like amenities and all whatever, but on the other side over there. So yeah,
it's gonna be good.
It's looking pretty good. And I think I figured out what I'm gonna do with my turtles, because I saw somebody post theirs and they kept the shells the like brownish color that was charted, and then they just made the hands and the feet like a kind of like a turquoise color. And I have that like nice turquoise one that I used for my Loch Ness Monster Quirky Quaker. So I think I'm gonna use that because that feels like a good turtle color.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And that's everything I worked on.
Thanks. Okay. So plans.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Love it.
Sponsor us.
So we know our Whip Go calls for December because they're the last ones. So I have one of them is this Owl Forest embroidery kit, titmice, because I love me a tit.
Oh.
So this is one that I started in our Great Startathon in January, and then when I was like, I'm going to work on all my projects in May, I did one day on it. So I've got one top border done.
Nice.
So I have it on my Whip Go for 5 days. So I'm going to aim to get like this big tit, these little tiny tits, and the branch that this one's sitting on. That's going to be my goal for my Whip Go stitching. I honestly have no concept of how many stitches that is. It might be, I don't think it's over ambitious, but I might get more done than that, especially if I happen to do it when I am not at work, because December becomes a little loosey-goosey, right? So
yeah.
And then my other call is my last call for Shores of Hawk Run Hollow for the year. So this is where I'm at. So I've got that. I'll do that last box there on the middle row, which is my least favorite part of the whole pattern. It's this full coverage boat that says, "In memory of Jacob Pomeroy, anchored in the haven of rest." I don't know who Jacob Pomeroy is. And I also don't necessarily want to make this a tribute to anybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rechart some other fishies and things in that box, just from other places on the pattern.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to put down there. And because my fabric is light, I'm not even going to fill it in. I'm going to do the boat and the dark blue, but the rest of it, I'm just going to put some critters in there.
Whatever you want.
That is my thing. And then my other thing that I've been working on planning is, so I'm going to do a temperature chart next year, because I thought about it on and off, but when Dr. Christie released this, and she released it a little while ago, so it's been available for a little while, so it's not hauled because I already own it because I bought it the day she released it. But this temperature birds on a wire, I don't know, temperature birds she calls it.
Yeah.
So it's available on her Etsy if you are interested. So I'm gonna stitch it. I'm probably gonna buy her, she has doodad packs, because like this balloon feels very Americana to me. I like the bat and the spider and things, but I'm not 100% sure that I'll put all the other things on there. But I'll go see what other options she has. Like I don't need a plane.
Yeah.
Right, so anyways, I'll play around with it. But what I've been playing around with is what I want to do for my colors. And so I have this fabric, which was it's not anything you can buy anywhere, so it doesn't matter what it is or who made it, but it's a 36 count. It's got kind of a bluish tone to it, and I've got a whole fat quarter, so I've got a huge amount of it. And I'm going to use all hand dye by Rolandas for it. So I have these two very similar grays that I'm going to use for the wires for the birds. I pulled 2 because they're close enough, and I honestly don't know. I probably won't need both to get it all done, but I haven't. It's quite wide. It's like 200 something stitches wide. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then, so Christy's pattern comes with a 25 color temperature range, which is not nearly the temperature range I need in my life, because her temperature range starts at a very different temperature than here, much warmer. I live in an area where it gets to negative 30 Celsius probably a few times a year, right? So I was looking at other temperature ranges, and I found a quilting one, not a quilting one, like one for
knitting,
a knit blanket.
Yeah.
That's 10 colors. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I don't need to know like a temperature range, but I wanted it to be super like jewel tony.
Ooh.
So these are the colors that I've picked out. So as I said, they're all hand dyed by Rolanda. Maybe I'll go through them one by one. I haven't 100% settled on the range, but this currently is what I'm thinking from sort of hottest to coldest. So that one, and then that one, and that one. But maybe those last 2 will get their orders rearranged. More into purple here. Lighter purple. This blue. Nice emeraldy green. And then these 2 are more variegated. This one's like a blues and greens, and this one's like a blue and brown. Super cold. That's what I'm thinking.
I like that. Yeah.
I want to get a good head start on the wires, right? Like to build a frame for it. So
that's a good idea.
Right. Because I think that's what ends up slowing people down when they're doing like the bookcase and things, is that.
And then you can just do a bird.
Don't have your bookcase, right?
Each day or whatever. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do it each day. I'll probably do it once a week.
Yeah.
If I'm just filling those in, rather than building.
As
I go, it should be good.
I keep wanting to ask Michelle this because I'm curious for like people that are stitching that kind of stuff. Do you think that they like each day they'll write down whatever the thing was? So it's like Monday, blah blah blah, and then at the end of the week they just like go through and stitch everything, so they know already.
But there's also websites where you can just look up the thing, right? But I know like EJ from Sunshine Stitchers, she just has a table and she writes down the temperature for every day.
Yeah. Oh,
right? And this one has a high-low temperature, which because I'm not using a super wide range, I might not necessarily get different colors for all my birds. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them do high-low and some of them just do the high for the day. But yeah, people do write it down. I might just note, right? Like, I'll look at your phone.
Monday,
note it
the color. I would probably write down the color, or like write the color, or like write the temperature on the color so that I know without having to like look it up every time.
I think it's Michelle. She's got her on her floss tag. She the range.
That's what I would probably do.
Oh, that And I know when she stitches it on Twitch, she tries to, because I mean she's working quite a ways back right now, so she's got all the dates. So she tries to do as many of that color as she can without counting.
And then she like skip along.
Because she's not doing it day by day. So that's one benefit of falling behind, is that I think it makes it a little bit faster because you're not changing so much necessarily. Like
I like the bookshelf, and then I also the galaxy. A lot of people did a temperature galaxy.
The galaxy is really cool too. Yeah.
I'm debating
the second I saw the birds, I was like, that's the temperature chart for me. Sold, done, ready to go.
Those birds are really cute. Yeah. And and because you're doing like fewer colors, you'll have like a row of like 4 birds that are all
right. That's like it's not gonna be as much variation, but I'm okay with that because it'll also like I'm gonna
That'd be
have
weird.
just a beautiful chart of birds in these colors, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll be happy to put that up on my wall and
Yeah.
be okay with it, right?
Yeah.
Like nice colors.
Absolutely. Who wouldn't love that?
Right?
Just a bunch of little birdies. Alrighty, so my whip go for December, one of them is gonna be The Magical Forest by Stitchy Princess. I'm really excited to get back to this one. I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm way more comfortable stitching on linen now because I've had a few things on linen that I've been doing now. So I still just have this little sun here in the corner because I've only worked on this like twice this year. I started it and then I pulled it out during
In
Baby
May, right?
Spingo,
Or
yeah.
Sleep and Go, yeah.
Yeah. I think I started it during Mania and then I pulled it out during September. Yeah. And then my other one is also one that I'm excited about that I actually put onto my whip go board because I finished something else. And it's this Under the Sea, beautiful Whales by Coleman. And this is in the Crossstitch for the Earth book, which I now also own, but I also got this pattern from a magazine. But yeah, so you can buy the book or you can try and find the magazine library if you want. And I just still have the corner here.
A little start.
Yeah.
A start is a start.
A start is a start. And this one I'm also excited to get back to because it's just so pretty. And then I didn't pull it out, so I can't show my progress, but I'll show because it is almost Christmas again. So I was thinking I would get out this the Christmas Village that I worked on this year. Yeah, and I'll start working on that again soon. I'm not gonna finish it this year, but I figure I'll work on it during I'll work on it during winter at least. So like December, January, and then put it away again.
Yeah, I have a couple ornaments that I want to get done this year. And there's a couple more in the magazine that I might.
Yeah, I need to look through that. Right. I haven't. Yeah, I'm sure I could.
Part of my thing is just sitting down and starting them. If I start them, they're usually pretty quick, just a couple days of stitching. Like I worked on the All About the Sweet one like before today for like 20 minutes on 2 different days, and I had the top words and most of the gumdrops done, and then now a couple hours and it'll be done. So
I'm also definitely gonna buy all of the Quirky Quaker Christmas ones.
Yeah,
I'll probably whip up a few of those in a couple of days as well.
I will be going shopping once their PDFs on December 1st.
That Gingerbread Man and the what was the other one? Gingerbread
There's
Man,
the Christmas tree, and the stock.
Oh, the bauble, the little
and the
Christmas ornament, and something else.
So I'm just going back to her page.
This
no, they won't be on there yet.
Oh no, they're on their Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
And then I'll finish my flamingo, my festive flamingo during Christmas.
It's
I don't really have. I guess I could also work on my. Oh, that's what it was. The stocking. Yeah.
The Christmas tree. Yeah, I can't scroll apparently. Bauble.
That one's really
like all shiny.
Imagine that.
And the Gingerbread Man.
I love the Gingerbread Man.
This one I will do in étoile, not in. I'm pretty sure that it's like the diamant.
Yeah.
It was stitched in, but
yeah, because you have that whole étoile kit, right? Yeah. I would do that too.
Sparkle it up. And then Brin and Needle have hinted that they're going to be doing a floss pack for the tree and the stocking. But I haven't seen anything about it being for sale yet.
Ooh.
So let's just go take a boo.
Yeah.
See if it's there yet, because
well, I have these Christmas silks that I just got.
Yeah, those will work well for
some of these ones. Yeah. This for the tree. This for the gingerbread man. Yeah. And then I guess I can also work on my Dreaming Mrs. Claus
Yeah, I got that one done.
I could probably finish that this month. I should probably try. I could finish it by Christmas easily.
Yeah.
I really only have a bunch of white, the light gray, and then the buildings is what I have left, pretty much.
And
some trees,
right?
But yeah, just pretty much the top row and like all the stars, and that's it. So I could do it. I could finish that in December, especially if I get some time off from work, which I don't know my schedule yet. We'll see. But all my classes are ending like the week of the 10th and the 14th, I think. So no, the 10th is a Saturday. Whatever. Whatever the Thursday is that week. Yeah, so I'll have some time after that.
Excellent.
Christmas stitching. I was trying to look up if there was like a 12 days of Stitchmas or anything that anybody had like made into like a thing yet, where they like stitch something like every day for like 12 days they stitch a different like Christmas thing or something.
I think some people work on a bunch of ornaments. I don't know that there's like a lot of people do Flossmas. They're tiny presents every day. I have no interest in filming every day. I do have many tiny presents that I will be opening because I can't stop myself.
Yeah.
That instant gratification. My friend Meghan made me an advent calendar.
Oh my god, my friend Meghan made me an advent calendar. Oh my god. That's so I'm really weird.
Excited for the personalized goodies.
I'm very
excited. A yarn one coming, and I have I didn't get like 25-day cross stitch, but I got from Fiber on a Whim. No. Oh my goodness. Forbidden Fiber. She did a 12-day Star Wars cross stitch box.
Oh.
So I got that. So it's floss, fabric, and patterns, I think is what it is. I don't really remember. I've just said, please come to my house, and it's on its way. So
yeah,
I think it will be here even before December 1st, which is not usual for advent boxes coming from America. We'll see.
Yeah. I haven't ordered anything else for December, but that's fine. I have lots of stuff to do.
Right.
Don't need any more stuff.
Yeah. We are planning to come back and film mid-December-ish. Again, Megan's got to get her schedule, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. And then we also so that'll be a regular floss tube, and then we're gonna do something year-endy closer to the very end of the year. So
yeah,
look for us twice next month.
Are we gonna do another 12 starts of New Year's?
I don't know yet, because I haven't decided if I want to do if I'm still aiming to get to 40 whips to start my year with.
Yeah.
If I do that, I don't have 12 spaces.
No.
Right?
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I don't even have 12 things kitted up right now, and I would
I don't think I need to add that many whips to my whip list.
I don't either.
Right?
I've started
I might get to 40
things.
But I also, at this point, I'm kind of hedging it on how many of what I have going I get done.
Yeah. True.
Because when I started thinking about that, I have started more things that aren't done since then.
Right.
Yeah. So that weren't necessarily planned starts or anything, right? It was just, look at that new pattern. Off I go. Right. So we'll see. I got to figure it out.
Yeah. I could at least start the last like 4 things or whatever that I have kitted up that I had kitted up for Mania that I haven't started yet.
I mean, I've got things kitted up. I have a lot.
I also have
just start.
Literal kits that are also ready to go, and a few of them are Christmassy. I have that Christmas T-Rex one from Canadian Stitchery. Is that her name? Something like that.
The sweater one, right? Like the
sweater, and then there's also a little T-Rex. I think is he? Yeah. Those. Yeah. There's a couple I got from her. So that would be fun to start,
and probably not take very long, right?
No, and they're like little wood ones too. So they're all basically once it's done, it's finished.
Yeah.
which is nice.
I was on Michelle's Flosstube live this morning, right, where she films her Flosstube, but cats in between. But so she was talking about, I forget if it was on the Flosstube or in between, but her like intention that she started the year with to finish everything she touched, right? And that's like, maybe I should do that next year. There's some things that are definitely too big to finish, but I feel like I could make goals for, like, if I pick it up, this is what I have to get done on it. Right, like my big multiple year projects. But for the other things, right, like this, just because it's sitting here, is if I only stitch this for a couple weeks, it would be done, right?
Yeah. So like you could 25/7 that into being finished.
But not even 20, but just all my stitching, like just pick it up and then I don't get to stitch anything else until it's done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I want to do for next year. That's really what this conversation is.
Yeah. I have a lot of full coverage pieces that I don't plan on finishing next year, but I would love to get a lot of work done on. Yeah.
And I haven't decided if
we're gonna do a whip. This is why we're gonna do a whip parade.
Yeah,
and
we'll do a whip parade. We'll talk our way through all our things.
See where we're at in our whips and stuff, because we've started a lot of things this past few months since our whip parade, which was in June, which wasn't that long ago. So, and we've finished a lot of things since June as well. So, yeah.
Take stock of where we're at. Decide what we want our goals to be.
Yeah. And we could make we could set up our whip go boards and then talk about.
I haven't decided if I want to do whip go though, right?
Oh, right.
So what I've been thinking about, because I've sort of talked around it here, but I haven't really talked about it, was because I'm turning 40 next year and people like do 40 starts for 40. I have no interest in doubling my whip count.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you. 40 seems like a good number. So I thought about getting up to 40 and then working on those 40 projects over the year. Right. And so finishing as many of them as I thought I could finish, making good progress on the other ones. What that feels like, though, is that I'm going to burn myself out because I haven't started new things. So I wouldn't necessarily not start new things.
Yeah.
But with 52 weeks in the year, I could basically, like, roughly, if I gave every project a week, I could work on 3 projects a month and have a week to do whatever squirrely thing I wanted to do. Right? Is what I've been thinking about. But I'm just not 100% sure that that is going to motivate me and interest me. So yeah, that's where I'm going.
Very also, fair. Yeah.
I don't really care that I'm turning 40. So do I need to
other than an excuse to just be like, I'm doing something for
right, but I can,
it's like a number.
I can just start things anyway, right? Like it doesn't
exactly
doesn't feel big to me. I have liked watching, so both Emily C of Eclectic Possessions and then Jen Lee at Quirks and Quarks. So I've liked watching them. So Emily did 40, Jen Lee did 222. Right? She's, I think, at 200 now start. She's got 22 more to do for the end of the year. Yes. What? Yes. Okay. You need to go check this out if you haven't. Go watch her floss.
My mind is blown.
Right? Go back to the end of last year when she was preparing for this and then watch what she's been doing. And she's been finishing things too. And like working on her old projects, like the dedication of that. I think she's a much faster stitcher than I am. Which enough, everybody works at their own pace, but I could
all the power to you.
It would stress me out so much, right?
Yeah.
The same idea of even just adding 40 things, and even if you kept them small, it's still a lot of things. So that's where this other thought came from. But the more I sort of go, how would I then like focus on things? I'm like, but I don't necessarily like to focus on things. So I hold myself to that if I don't like to do it. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna do whip go because I have found it very motivating for me for finishing stuff. But I'm gonna change my rules for myself a little bit because like right now it's like 5 days, but then I'll like if I'm at a point where like I would normally stop stitching but I need one more day, then it's like I'll be like, oh, I'll just save this for tomorrow. like this last part of this like section or whatever. Whereas like if I go by the hour, I feel like because like if I make a goal for like 10 hours or something like that, I'll figure it out. But like I could burn through that in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And then it would be like the same.
Or if you
like
have
doing like
low stitchy days, it could take you a week, but either way, you're not forcing yourself one way or the other.
Yeah. And I'm more likely to be like, okay, I have to do my 5 days, so I'll just do like a half an hour each day for 5 days. But that's not really achieving very much. Whereas like if I go by the hour, I feel like it's more of like it's this amount of stitching no matter how long it takes, no matter how many days it takes, rather. So I feel like I'm gonna do it that way. I think it was like Carolyn from Sizu who said that she does it like she has like goals by the hour, and I was like, I feel like I should do that because all my stitching days are not equal. So if I do like 5 days, it's like, do I do 3 hours one day and then a half an hour the next day? Like that's so, and that's how it usually ends up happening. So I feel like I'm gonna do it that way instead. And then also like anything small, I'll just be like, the goal is a finish, which has been really good too, because that's like such a clear thing. And it really motivates me to like finish stuff in the month. Because it's a whip go. I have to. Yeah.
You're beholden to your board.
Exactly. So that's my plan for next year. I'm definitely gonna do whip go again. And now I have like more than enough whips to fill the board. So that's
no duplications, no
or no like other random, like this year I had like 2 like non-stitchy things. I had my stockings and I had that macrame thing that I wanted to finish because I didn't have enough
you don't need
things. And then I ended up subbing in other stuff because I finished stuff. So that's my plan. So we'll see you guys.
And if you've stayed this long, thank you for joining us for our unplanned plan chat.
Yes.
We'll warm people up. We'll warm people.
Yeah, there'll be like you can stop watching if you don't want to hear about our
ramble.
But I mean, I like people talk about this kind of stuff and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
I like hearing people talk about their plans, but I know it's not for anyone.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. That's true. If you just want to see stitching, we'll put a thing in. But we'll see you guys back here in a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks almost, and then end of the year whip parade.
Excellent. Okay.
Everyone's favorite parade.
Bye.
Bye.